Hello and welcome to a teaching video by a grand champion with very little mechanical ability. In this video, I will attempt to dispel some illusions that some people have in regards to skill, and in particular their own skill and confidence in their own skill. Why does it matter to you that I have a very low mechanical ability? It means that when I'm talking about things that have to do with what I'm good at, you can have the confidence to believe what I'm saying. And I will show you why. Let's take a look at some diagrams and stats. Here I have a perfect player. This is a perfect artificial intelligence. AI has shown us by its performance in games that being human and playing games, it's not so much about playing right, but more so about playing as little wrong as possible. So it scores a perfect S in every category. Pretty much at any given time, the perfect AI will be in a different place than you, doing different things, no matter how good you are. It's doing the perfect thing. This tells us that even the professional player is doing it wrong in terms of perfection at any given moment. So long as a player is not doing exactly what the perfect AI would have done in that moment, he's doing it wrong. We're all doing it wrong. You or I are not playing Rocket League correctly at all. It's by this perfect measure that we might deduce where we are in terms of skill within different categories that matter in terms of our each game basis performance. Let's look at a professional player. A random professional player. He is rank A compared to perfection. He's rarely in the exact right spot or doing things exactly perfect compared to the perfect AI. A different professional player might have different stats compared to this one, though. Take note of that. We'll be looking at a couple of these diagrams in order to establish a point from which we might extrapolate some truths. Let's look at a high GC player. A high GC might be close to the skill of a professional player, and some might even be better at some areas of play. Some might simply be better as well, but don't have the contacts or willingness to sign for a team. This is a random high GC person. This particular person has a great mechanical ability, but lacks in some strategical departments like awareness and positioning. Another high GC person might have it the other way around. He might be really good at the strategical elements while being really bad at the mechanics comparatively. Let's move down the ranks, this time a low GC player. Again, a random low GC player. There's a large gap between low and high Grand Champion players. That's due to Rocket League not having enough ranks. So the skill disparity between a low and high rank GC player is larger than the disparity between any of the ranks. But let's look at this one in particular. His positional ability and awareness is better than the high GC player we looked at before, but his mechanics and some other core skills are way worse. This is absolutely necessary to understand. This is the awareness that I'm trying to impart by making this video. Let's look at Champion 2 next. This person in particular spends a lot of time practicing his mechanics and situationally specific techniques, so he's very good in that area, but he lacks a lot to be able to raise his MMR, like boost control and timing. What do you think a person like that with great mechanics but poor awareness would say to someone with poor mechanics but good awareness? Do you think that he would be able to be aware of the low GC's abilities? Could it be that he would dismiss the player as bad? Let's dive a bit further down to Diamond 1. Remember, it's a random player. Another player might look very different. This guy's mechanical ability is the same as the low GC player even. How is that possible? It might just be if the low GC player was good enough in other areas to compensate. But now we're really starting to enter skill areas where the differences in how people play is extremely noticeable. A player could literally have great mechanics and timing and be absolutely terrible at everything else and still be able to hold this rank. Let's look at the final rank of this presentation, Platinum 1. This guy is pretty well rounded for his rank, but now we're entering the range in which there's very little these players can possibly do better than players in high champ ranges. Perhaps they have practiced a move or two that the low GC player hasn't practiced. The half flip, for example, and he's able to sometimes use that to his advantage. We're soon done with these diagrams, I promise. I just want to show you one last diagram. This is me. I spent like 1 minute on these, so it's not like I know exactly where on the scale I am in these different categories. It's just an estimate based on my experience with observing other players in relation to myself. Listen, I can hardly pull off a half flip. I haven't landed a ceiling shot or a flip reset in a game so far. I have absolutely terrible mechanics for my rank. But because we know that I am low GC, that means that I must do some things more correctly than even some high GC players. Because that's just how it works. If you're at a certain point in MMR and you're lacking in some areas, that means that you must be making up for it, or else you wouldn't have the rank. But okay, what's my point? Okay, I want people to stop thinking that they're good in comparison with other players in their own ranks. It doesn't make sense. But still, why do I want that? Because it doesn't benefit them. It hurts their progression. They're falling into a trap of their own hubris. They're blinding themselves to their own weaknesses. And number two, I want people to benefit from what I'm going to talk about in other videos at all ranks, not just people who are lower ranked than me. So I'm establishing an ethos. And number three, I want people to understand that the only person you should want to be better than is yourself yesterday or a week ago or a month ago. So whatever rank you're at, just stop being a papega every time you see your teammate failing. Just realize that you are at the rank you're at because of your flaws. Stop blaming other people, okay? I'm going to be making some videos about tactical and strategical aspects that I don't see a lot of videos about in order to offer some new perspectives to the players who haven't figured out these things yet. Stay tuned if you want your Rocket League game to be enriched with some new perspectives and terrible paint presentations. Peace to you all.